when we are aware about the whole story of our characters and the details of our whole sequences, somehow we are able to understand the journey of our story. But when we are going to pitch the story, when we are going to tell the story to the producer, you cannot narrate the whole episodes, the whole story of the entire film. So in such a case, at least you should have some sort of a summary or a synopsis along with you. So now we'll try to understand what is a synopsis or what is a summary of the story. So summary of the story is basically written in a page or two, just to elaborate that what is overall your concept and what is the base of your story. So not necessarily the whole detail of the story will be revealed through that summary, but if somebody reads that summary, that person will get overall idea about what can be the visuals or what can be the concept. So when you are sending this proposal to the production houses or a producers or a financing company, so initially you will have to send the summary of your project. So in the summary you can discuss the central idea of your project or a central idea of your story. Cut. So when we are going to write a screenplay, we must understand the difference between the script and a screenplay. In a common language, if somebody says a film script, it means the whatever written material about the film is called a script. So in the script, you will have your written story, your characterization, your structure, your production design, your dialogues, your treatment, and whatever things you have written for the film is called a script. And when it comes to the screenplay, screenplay is a part of the script. And we're trying to understand that how to develop the screenplay. So when you have written a story, when you have written a structure, a scene by scene, then you must know that how many scenes are there or how many structure. Cut. Bala to disturb karta hai. So in your story, you should know that how many scenes are there. So as per Act 1, Act 2 and Act 3, 20 to 25% of your scenes are Act 1, 22 and second act is around 50% of the story, and rest of the third act is remaining 20 to 25%. And in this every act, you know that how many numbers of the scenes are there. So it can be 100 scenes or 50 scenes or 25 scenes or whatever scenes. But when you know that you have a well-defined structure, you know that exact 120 scenes are there in your film or 60 scenes in your film or 30 scenes, whatever, then you will take it for the next step, that is writing a screenplay. So when you are talking about how to go detailing about the screenplay, then you must know certain principles about the screenplay. So try to understand, the screenplay is basically designed by the Hollywood people or international film industry people, where for the convenience of the work to the all crew members and all technicians and actors, that it's a work instruction, it's a job instructions, and it should be very uniform. That's why this screenplay format has been decided. Initially, when the film industry was open and started, there was no any screenplay. Initially, they used to call it photoplay because they used to write for the photo. They used to call it a photo, and later on when they understood that it's a play on the screen, that's why they called it a screenplay. It took decades to get an exact developed form of the screenplay format which you are currently trying to understand, or which screenplay format is currently being in the practice. So in this screenplay there are instructions for all your creative and technical members. So technical people like a cinematographer, audiographer, art director, production designer, actors, editors, production executives, assistants, everybody has their own instructions, and they should know that what is a detail in the scene, what are the details in audio and what are the details in visuals, and what is the responsibility of each and every creative and technical people. That's why there is a specification of the screenplay format. It's not a simply written just like a story, because every technician has their own role to play during the production and in the post-production. That's why screenplay format is written in a very specific way. So initially in international in film industry, it is considered that A4 size of a paper, and in that particular format, A4 size is a size of the paper, and the screenplay is written scene by scene. So in the left-hand alignment it is mentioned that what is the name of the scene, then whether it's an interior or exterior, it's a day or night. So all these thing is written in the left hand alignment, and below that you will see that there is a detailed description or the narration of the entire scene. So in this narrative body you can write the whole detail of your scene, where what exactly happens in that scene and the situation. So you will have to mention what is the location, so the details of the locations, and the properties, that is just property and the must properties. So whether it's an interior location or exterior location, what is the condition of the lighting, and how many characters are there in the scene, and what is their placement, what is their setting, and what is their action. So when you write a screenplay, when the first time character is introduced, then that character you have to mention in the capital letters. So initially when you write a screenplay, you will have to write in a simple word format in the computer. So in this word format you will have to write in particular font, that is New Courier, and the font size is 12, the spacing is a single spacing, and you will have to write the screenplay in simple present tense. You can use the softwares for these things, but initially you should able to type your own screenplay in computer format on the Microsoft Word. So in that format, once you have written the description body, that what are the details of situation and the action, so every time the character is introduced you have to mention it in a capital letters, because the production manager will count as a adding of the new character. So wherever first time capital letters are there for the name of the character, it means that is the number of your characters in the entire film. And thereafter you can write the name of the character in a simple uppercase format. So the whole detail of the description in a full alignment, and after that if the dialogue is there, you can write a dialogue under the name of the character. So under this description body you can write the name of character in a small case, and under the name of the character you can write the dialogue, and the dialogue will be not the full alignment, it's a broken dialogues one by one. So it's easier for the central alignment that your actors will easily find their role, their character, and a broken sentences are very easy to by heart their dialogues. So dialogues can be n numbers of dialogues of the each and every character. If you have a special instruction about the character, you can mention it in the bracket, or if you have some particular technical instructions about the character's dialogues, so like a filter, like voiceover, like off the screen, and narrator. So we'll try to understand what is this different categories about technical notices. So first thing is, if somebody is talking on the phone and the character talking on the phone and the character talking from the phone, both the characters are there and their dialogues are there. So the normal person who is talking will have a simple dialogues, but in the front of this person who is talking through the mobile phone, in the bracket you will mention a filter, because audiographer will add the filter of telephonic sound effect, and that's why that instruction of a filter is there. So keep in mind that whenever you will have a sound from digital devices like mobile phone, like radio, television, or speaker, so initially you will have to write the filter in the front of that dialogue. If character is talking to himself or herself, so it's sound of his or her mind or her own sound, own dialogue. So in the bracket you will write it voiceover. Keep in mind that you will write in the bracket that sound is voice over. In short, you can write VO, voice over. And if somebody is calling from outside of the location or outside of the room, and that person is not visible on the screen, but the dialogue are audible of that person, and so you will have to mention that character's instruction is off screen, because the character's sound is audible but the character is not visible, so that character is off screen. That's why in the bracket you will have to mention that it's off screen. Then if somebody is narrating her own biography or his own story as a voiceover, but that person is not visible on the screen, then in such a case you will have to mention on that screenplay that is narration or narrator. So don't make a confusion between narration, off-screen, filter and voiceover. Look similar but everything is different. So all these instructions you will have to mention in your screenplay. So whenever in between the dialogues, if you want to add some instruction, some activity, some happenings in the scene, then you can write under that dialogues in a full alignment whatever lines or whatever page it requires. And again you will write the dialogues, and again you will write the description, and where your scene is end, where your scene is taking place in such a way that there is no need to go ahead, then you will have to make it with the instruction of a cut it, or you have to mention it cut to. So in the right alignment where your scene ends, in the right alignment you have to mention cut to the next scene, and immediately after that line the next scene you have to mention on the left alignment, and you can write the whole description of the next scene. So what are the things you should know when you are writing a screenplay? Is screenplay is always written in a simple present tense. If you are using English language as a writing a tool or writing a language, so you can use a Roman script, and the Courier's new Courier is a font size is 12 and it's a single spacing. So on an average, if you are writing in A4 size with all these instructions, then your one page is equal to 1 minute on screen. So when you are writing a screenplay, try to make it in a very specific way, because screenplay is not just for the entertainment or for the purpose of reading, it is a industry instructions, and that's why you will have to understand that always your scene heading will be at left alignment, your description body is in a full alignment, your dialogues are in a center alignment, and where your scene ends at the end of the scene at right alignment, you will have to mention cut to next scene. So when you are trying to write a screenplay, try to write the maximum details in descriptions and the narrative body. Whatever you see and whatever you listen, so all the visual and audio details should be there, all the details of the costumes, all the detail of the property, all the detail of activities, the mood of the characters and their action, everything you will have to mention in that narrative body. And in some cases, if you want to add the emotions, a particular emotions, you can add it in the bracket in the front of name of character. So all screenplays are written again and again because it's a development. So you may have a first draft, second draft, third draft, fourth draft, because in every draft you will have some addition or improvement or a development. So each and every scene you will create, you will go through it, you will rewrite it, rewrite the whole scene and situations. And whenever you feel that okay, so see these 100 scenes are there and it's more than enough, whatever things we have written is a complete things, now we don't have to add any changes or we don't have to make any further rearrangements. And once you have got a confidence that you have got a fantastic screenplay, or you know that everything is in order, then at such a situation you can lock your screenplay. So from your side you will lock the screenplay, it means you will not make any changes in your screenplay, provided if your screenplay is sold or hired by somebody, or that a film director or a producer want to do something, want to add something, want to make something changes, then only you can unlock the screenplay for the further development. Otherwise, once you have locked the screenplay, then there is no need to do any further changes. So screenplays are written in any language, but the format, industry format, is a universal format nowadays. Language can be changed, but the placement and the format will not change anywhere in the world. So please try to understand that when you write a screenplay, you can write a screenplay in whatever language, or initially if you write in English, you can write the dialogues in that particular language, vernacular language. And even nowadays it is fine that you can write the dialogues in that particular language, but you can use the Roman script for writing the dialogues. So vice versa, you can either write a whole script in English, so in the Roman script, and the dialogues you can write in a particular language, or else, and you can write the whole dialogues and screenplay only in a Roman script. But there is no as such a hard and fast rule. If you are working in a vernacular medium, you are working on a particular local language, you can write the dialogues and the detailed screenplay in that dialogues in that language. And if the whole unit understand that language, then that's fine. That there is no need to make any changes in any other language. So in the first draft, second draft, third draft, fourth draft, you can see every time you will feel some changes. But it's your creative or it's your intellectual decision that how you can make the appropriate changes, and at what particular time, at particular situation, you can change the specific form of the screenplay. So when you are writing a screenplay, so you will also write a songs in that screenplay, you will also write a montage of the screenplay. So for the montage, when you are writing a screenplay, again it's the same thing as you write a scene, because montage is a combination of the numbers of different scenes, but there are no dialogues, only the particular images or particular shots are there. But each and every time you have to create the structure of your montage. So if there are 7 scenes in the montage, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, so all these 7 scenes you will have to again write a screenplay. So whether your story goes into the flashback again, but still people watch the flashback is also in the present tense, so that's why you also write a flashback also in the present tense. So screenplay is writing and rewriting. So when you are a director yourself, then you can make the changes till the going on the shooting floor. But if you are a writer, then you are not allowed to write any camera movements, any shot instructions, and not any kind of a background score at particular situations. If in the situations particular music is being played, particular song is being played, that thing you can mention in the description, but you cannot add the specific background score as a background score in your screenplay. So keep in mind that as per the instructions of the writers, you are allowed to write what happens in the situation, what are the details of the situation, what are the details of the dialogues, and let the director will decide that how that director is going to show the situation, how that director is going to use the audio for the particular things, how the director will decide that what will be the particular camera movements or the actor's movement, or what kind of a background score director will decide. Because once you have prepared a screenplay, then director will have his or her own shooting script with the technical instructions. So as a screenwriter, you don't have to write any technical details, you just have to create a story and the scenes. So all the details of the scene, all the details of audio visual and the dialogue in screenplay, scene by scene. So once you have written the whole scenes step by step and chronologically, so automatically your whole story is developed into the full-fledged screenplay. And once you have a full-fledged screenplay and you have refined that screenplay, then you can log the screenplay and later on you can start developing that screenplay for the commercial use. So when we are aware about the whole story of our characters and the details of our whole sequences, somehow we are able to understand the journey of our story. But when we are going to pitch the story, when we are going to tell the story to the producer, you cannot narrate the whole episodes, the whole story of the entire film. So in such a case, at least you should have some sort of a summary or a synopsis along with you. Thank you very much for showing interest in script writing course. Well, I'm Bapu Sarvagod. I'm a filmmaker and founder and director of this organization called Sense India Foundation Media Research and Education Forum.